Hi guys, welcome to the sine and cosine animations exercise. Some of you are just wanting to do some things like pulse some objects and move things in a circle and move things up and down, to oscillate between two positions, up and down, or oscillate between two positions, left and right. So that's what this exercise is going to do, and I'm just going to show you a basic example of how you can move this ball up and down in a nice smooth curve, and then you can apply it to your own needs. So the way that you do this sort of animation is that you use the sine function. So what the sine function does is it gives us back a value between 1 and -1 based on a value you give it, in this case x. So as you increase this value that you give it, it just oscillates between 1 and -1. So it returns a number between 1 and -1. So if you give it 500 here, it'll still be a number between 1 and -1. And if you increment this in an even way, it will give you a nice smooth curve to those values. So we're going to use this within our code to try and make this animation happen. The way we're going to do this is we are going to set a variable called angle. We'll just call it angle. I mean, it's just basically a counter or an increment. So we might actually call it counter, which just gets increased over time. So every time we run the draw function, we're going to increase this counter. Let's increase this counter by 1. And then we're going to draw a circle with a 20-20 width. We're going to place the X position within the center of the canvas, and then we're going to use a variable for the Y position. And the variable is going to have our formula that will give us our oscillating Y value. So let's just start with sine counter. And let's save that. And so as the X value, as this counter increases, this sine value is going to oscillate the Y value up and down. Okay, so here we can see that is what it's doing. It's going up and down, but obviously there's a few issues here. Firstly, it's at the top of the canvas. So let's just make sure that we add half the height of the canvas to this Y value so that it centers it. Okay, now it's in the center. It's going up and down, but it's jittering. We can't even see it. So there's a few reasons for this. Firstly, we're not moving it far enough up and down. So let's start by doing that. So let's increase our number between 0 and 1 to a number between 0 and something else. And let's say we want it to give us a number between, -1 and 1. Let's increase that to a number between minus something and something else. So we're going to make that 100. So that number will now oscillate between -100 and 100. So it'll be 100 pixels either way of its original position, which is in the center of the canvas. So let's save that. Okay, great. That's moving up and down, but it's hectically fast. So we're just going to get off that. And the way that we can slow it down is that we can just increase this counter. We're increasing it by too much. We want to increase it by a much smaller value. So let's go with 0.1. Cool, that's going up and down. I actually think that's just slightly too fast, so let's just make it like that. Okay, we can see what's happening here. So as you can see, this circle is being drawn every time the draw function runs, and it's just being drawn in a slightly different position. So we can see that if we just change the background to be transparent. So we can see that ball running up and down. We can see every position it's being given. Might even... So that actually looks pretty cool as well. So there's a few things, as soon as you start getting hold of these functions, you can start to change things up and to suit your purposes. So the one other thing I might show you is I might show you how to get this thing to move in a circle. Because as you can see, we're oscillating our Y value. Now to get that to move in a circle, all we'd need to do is also oscillate our X value. and we just want to make sure we oscillate it in the correct timing. So when it's up here, we want to go round to there and then round again. So we want the X position to go ready, round to there, and that will be a circle. So the X position just needs to oscillate in time with this to make it look like a circle. And the way that we do that is we use the cosine value. So we do exactly the same thing with the X position. And hooray, we've got it moving in a circle. So there you go, that's a very snazzy loading GIF. But you can use that for lots of different things. Okay, you can also use it to pulse the size of something. So I basically got a lot of this, the code and the concept for this from this example, which is just the sine example on P5.js. But now that you understand how it works and the thinking behind it, you can have a look and dig into this code to try and get your thing to pulse a little bit. It should be a very simple move, and then you can also use some of the other examples in here, which is sort of cool. There's a sine cosine example. It's a bit wild. This I thought was quite useful if you want to produce a wave. So you can see that if you look at only one of these balls, you can see it's just doing exactly what we did. And all you're doing is we've got lots of balls and we're moving them at slightly different offsets to make that wave. So you can dig into this code here. Okay, I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye.